Elon Musk, the self-proclaimed genius, meme lord, and visionary billionaire, or just a glorified con artist riding on privilege, propaganda, and a carefully crafted persona? He's the guy who wants to sell you electric cars and flamethrowers while simultaneously promising to shoot your ass to Mars. Because nothing says sustainable future like interplanetary space tourism for the ultra-rich. But behind the carefully constructed facade of the eccentric billionaire genius lurks a more troubling reality. In this video, we expose the real Elon Musk, stripping away the myth to reveal his lies, his shady past, and his dangerous alliances. Buckle up, because we're about to delve into the murky depths of a man who's either a visionary genius or a world-class bullshitter. And frankly, after seeing the evidence, you might just agree that the line between the two can get pretty damn thin. Now, you might be thinking, isn't it a bit harsh to call Elon Musk a dangerous extremist? And to that, I say, grab a snack, settle in, and let's talk about who this self-proclaimed free speech absolutist chooses to platform. Because, spoiler alert, it's not exactly a diverse group of voices. Let's start with his little Twitter takeover, shall we? Since buying the platform, Musk has reinstated the accounts of numerous far-right figures, some of whom had been permanently banned for inciting violence and spreading hateful rhetoric. We're talking about people who make your racist uncle at Thanksgiving dinner seem like a moderate. And it's not just about who he lets back on the platform. Musk himself has dabbled in spreading far-right conspiracy theories, often using his massive platform to amplify dangerous misinformation. Remember that whole Pizzagate nonsense? Yeah, Musk was peddling that garbage too. Then there's his cozy relationship with Peter Thiel, the billionaire tech investor known for funding far-right candidates and backing authoritarian regimes. These two are thick as thieves, which, considering Thiel once wrote that women's suffrage was detrimental to democracy, should tell you all you need to know. But wait, there's more. Musk has also palled around with Kanye West, even after the rapper went on his anti-Semitic tirade. Now, I'm not saying Musk endorses everything Kanye says, but publicly defending someone spewing hateful rhetoric? Not exactly a good look, Elon. And let's not forget his cozy relationship with the right-wing media ecosystem. He's a regular guest on Fox News, where he's given a platform to spout his anti-union rhetoric and attack anyone who dares criticize him. The evidence is clear. Elon Musk has consistently aligned himself with far-right figures and ideologies. He's provided them with a platform, amplified their message, and defended their actions. So is it really that much of a stretch to call him out on it? I'll let you decide. Now, I know what you're thinking. Elon worked hard for his billions. He's a self-made genius. And to that, I say, bless your heart. Because while Elon likes to paint himself as a scrappy entrepreneur who built his empire from the ground up, the truth is a little more inherited. Let's rewind to Elon's childhood in apartheid-era South Africa, shall we? His father, Elon Musk, was an emerald mine owner, which, let's be honest, doesn't exactly scream rags to riches. In fact, it practically screams, we profited off a system of racial segregation and exploitation. Now, I'm not saying Elon himself is responsible for his father's actions, but let's not pretend he came from humble beginnings. This wasn't your typical bootstrap story. This was more like a silver spoon with an emerald-encrusted handle story. And it gets worse. Remember those lovely grandparents Elon likes to talk about? The ones who flew across the world in a single-engine plane? Turns out they weren't just adventurous. They were also allegedly Nazi sympathizers who fled Europe after the war. Now, I'm not saying Elon shares his grandparents' beliefs, but it does add another layer of complexity to his carefully curated outsider persona, doesn't it? Especially when you consider his history of silencing and belittling critics who dare to question his methods. But back to the money. Because while Elon loves to tout his entrepreneurial spirit, the reality is that his early ventures like Zip2 and PayPal were heavily subsidized by family money. That's right, folks. Even his self-made successes were built on a foundation of inherited wealth. So, the next time you hear Elon wax poetic about his difficult upbringing, remember this. His idea of roughing it is probably your idea of a 5-star vacation. Now let's talk about the self-proclaimed free speech absolutist who seems to have a rather flexible relationship with the truth. Because when it comes to spreading misinformation, manipulating markets, and silencing critics, Musk's commitment to free speech seems to vanish faster than his promises of a fully autonomous Tesla. Remember that time he tweeted about taking Tesla private at $420 a share? Yeah, that little stunt sent Tesla's stock price soaring, costing investors millions and landing him in hot water with the SEC. But hey, who cares about market manipulation when you're trying to impress your then-girlfriend Grimes with a weed-themed joke, right? And let's not forget his blatant attempts to control the narrative around his companies. From suing journalists who write critical articles to using Twitter to attack former employees who speak out against him, Musk has shown a disturbing pattern of trying to silence anyone who dares to challenge his version of events. Then there's his penchant for spreading misinformation, particularly when it comes to things like COVID-19 and climate change. Remember when he called the pandemic a panicdemic and downplayed the severity of the virus? Or how about when he spread doubts about climate science, despite the overwhelming scientific consensus? And let's not forget his love affair with conspiracy theories. From promoting the baseless claims of the anti-vaccine movement to peddling QAnon-adjacent nonsense, Musk has shown a willingness to embrace even the most outlandish and dangerous ideas. But perhaps the most insidious aspect of Musk's relationship with truth is his ability to manipulate his followers. He's a master of using his platform to create a cult of personality, convincing his legions of fans that he's a visionary genius who can do no wrong. This is a man who once tweeted, "When in doubt, let your conscience be your guide." But when your conscience is seemingly powered by a steady diet of conspiracy theories, misinformation, and a healthy dose of ego, it's no wonder his moral compass seems permanently stuck on south. Musk's cringeworthy attempts to be one of us. The self-proclaimed gamer who seems to think that dropping references to obscure anime and video games makes him relatable to the common man. Because nothing says I'm just like you like a billionaire CEO cosplaying as a tech-savvy nerd while simultaneously presiding over a company with a questionable labor practices record. Look, I get it, Elon. You like video games. You think anime is cool. But your desperate attempts to shoehorn these interests into every conversation come across as less relatable gamer and more out-of-touch billionaire trying too hard to fit in. It's like watching your dad try to use slang he heard from your little brother. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and frankly, it's a little embarrassing for everyone involved. And let's not forget his infamous appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he took a drag from a joint and proceeded to ramble on about artificial intelligence and the simulation hypothesis. Now, I'm all for a good existential crisis, but something about a billionaire smoking weed on a podcast while his employees struggle to make ends meet just feels a little off. Then there's his Twitter persona, which can best be described as a bizarre mix of dad jokes, anime memes, and thinly veiled attempts to manipulate the stock market. It's like he's trying to be the cool uncle of the internet, but instead, he just comes across as that weird neighbor who keeps trying to show you his collection of vintage Atari cartridges. The truth is, Elon, no amount of gaming references or anime avatars can hide the fact that you're a billionaire CEO who's increasingly out of touch with the realities of everyday people. Musk's quest for total control, the self-proclaimed free speech absolutist who seems to have a rather unique understanding of the term. Because when it comes to controlling the narrative, silencing dissenting voices, and shaping public perception, Musk's commitment to free speech seems to evaporate faster than a puddle of water in the Martian desert. You see, for Elon, free speech seems to mean everyone is free to agree with me. Any opinion that challenges his worldview, any criticism of his companies, any attempt to hold him accountable for his actions is met with swift and brutal retaliation. He's sued journalists for daring to write critical articles about Tesla. He's used Twitter to attack former employees who've spoken out against his labor practices. He's even gone after teenagers who've created parody accounts mocking his behavior. This is a man who seems to believe that his billions buy him not just influence, but immunity. Immunity from criticism, immunity from accountability, immunity from the consequences of his own actions. And let's not forget his army of online followers, who seem all too eager to defend their dear leader from any and all perceived attacks. These are the same people who harass journalists, attack critics, and spread misinformation in the name of protecting Elon's fragile ego. It's a dangerous game he's playing, this manipulation of public opinion. Because when you silence dissenting voices, when you control the flow of information, when you create a cult of personality around yourself, you create an environment where truth is the first casualty. And in the end, the only freedom that's truly at risk is our freedom from his unchecked ego and his insatiable thirst for control. So, is Elon Musk truly a genius or just a privileged fraud with a cult following? Is he a visionary leader or a thin-skinned bully who can't handle criticism? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in between. But one thing's for sure, the more you scratch beneath the surface of Elon Musk, the more you realize that the man behind the mask is far more complex and far more troubling than the carefully constructed persona he presents to the world. In the end, Elon Musk isn't a genius or a visionary, just a privileged fraud wrapped in hype, deception, and a carefully crafted persona.